mental. Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're looking at how to win any argument.
Okay, what?
Yep, something that can really cause a lot of anxiety are arguments. Now, whatever the situation is, there's always some potential to be the potential, whatever the that be some. Whatever the situation, there's always the potential for there to be some kind of argument. And so when you are fully prepared on how to win any argument, which you're going to learn by the end of this video, then you'll be prepared for anything.
Okay.
If you're new here, I'm Daz, and I make videos every Monday and Thursday on the funny side of life with anxiety and depression. And if that's the sort of thing you want to see more of, hit that subscribe button, the bell notification, and obviously, if you like this video, maybe just tickle that like. I'd be very, very grateful.
Thank you.
Let's start with why we actually argue. Now, it's generally because us and another person have a difference of opinion on a particular subject, and we both feel that we're right.
Dumbest people.
And this brings up the most important point about an argument. To win an argument, you don't necessarily have to be right.
Wait, what?
And once we get that clearer in our minds, things are a lot easier. Think back to one of the many times you've had an argument and that feeling where you're just trying to hammer home your point and convince the other person that what you're saying is right.
Dumbass.
Who had the most compelling point is kind of lost by the end of it because you're both really emotional and pretty much pissed off with the other person. And in a sense, nobody won.
Shit on it.
So repeating my point again, to win an argument doesn't mean you have to be right.
Alright.
So what can we do to always win an argument? Keep watching and you'll find out.
Are you sure?
Firstly, it's vital that we don't get all heated, annoyed and angry, as this completely stops us from thinking clearly.
I didn't like it.
So before saying anything, always take a breath, as this really slows things down. Because in any conversation, no matter what it is, we always tend to match the other person's tonality and emotions. So by slowing things down, the other person is more likely to also slow down. And this just diffuses any heat out of the situation.
Probably be better for everybody.
You can follow that up asking questions. Now, generally in an argument, it's all about making a statement.
I think this. I think this.
And then the other person,
No, I think this, I think this.
and it's just sort of battling statements and each person trying to force and prove their point to the other person. But by asking questions, it sort of turns things around. There's not that conflict. You're asking for information.
Oh yeah.
This hugely reduces any tension or emotion out of the situation because you're not just pounding your point there, you're asking questions.
That was amazing.
And the result of this is the other person then has to think of something to answer, and it stops that pattern of just hammering home their point and their idea to convince you that they're right. This is essentially what's called a pattern interrupt and part of NLP and hypnosis. It's a version of that. When something happens that you're not expecting it to, in the traditional sense of that situation, it does, albeit briefly, throw you. Oh, what's going on? That pattern interruption is enough to get the person thinking, and again, that can reduce the heat and tension and just hostility out of the situation.
Mighty good.
Now, obviously, when asking a question, it's important that we don't ask it in a sarcastic way or in a tone that makes it more like a statement. You want a normal, standard question with a rising inflection at the end, so it's very clear it's an honest and open question to the other person.
Of course.
You're now having a conversation as opposed to a heated argument, and that's going to be much better for the outcome for both of you.
Don't forget.
If you're facing any sort of anxiety from dealing with other people or just in life in general, I definitely recommend you check out BetterHelp. It's an online service, absolutely amazing, and if you put in the code DAZHANDS, you'll get 10% off. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. Now, me being me, obviously I have to talk about humour. Humour is always the most powerful way to build rapport and diffuse any tense situation.
Really, Daddy?
But, huge but, we need to be careful because when there is real charged emotion in an argument, making a joke in the wrong way and at the wrong time will literally make the other person
explode with anger.
and put the end to any possible peaceful resolution to the argument completely.
Now those foundations are gone. Sorry.
Any type of self-deprecating humour will always work because psychologically for the other person, because you're making fun about yourself, you're sort of giving the other person a bit of power, and because you're not making a joke or anything sarcastic towards the other person, that's how the tension can reduce and you're diffusing any sort of heat in the situation.
It's funny because it's true.
Using the other person's exact words back to them is a very cheeky psychological trick that will always help to diffuse things. This is because when we hear our own words repeated back to us, subconsciously we feel like the other person is agreeing with us because they're using the exact same words, and this reduces any amount of conflict.
Okay.
Obviously, don't repeat back the absolute exact phrase to the person because this is just like being an annoying fucking child.
Nice.
But more frame your phrase, or ideally question, using their words, or at least as many of their words as you can, so their subconscious picks up that you're using the same words. And this brings us on to the ultimate way to win any argument, always. It may seem simple, it may seem proper mental, but it works. Remember, winning an argument is not about being right. It's about getting your point across in a clear and understandable way without the conversation ending up as some huge heated shouting match where ultimately the whole original point is completely lost.
Shut up! I want to shut up! Shut up in your face! Now am I a dog? I want to shut up!
So what's this magical, mystical technique? We agree with everything they say, ask questions, and state our point. That's it.
That's ridiculous.
Whatever the other person says, we agree with them, repeat back their own words to them in the form of a question, and then state your point.
You are a retard.
And then just repeat this. And when I say repeat this, I mean literally repeat this over and 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 over again.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
This is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful because there's a lot of psychological effects that are going on here. Firstly, we're agreeing with what they're saying, so this immediately shuts down any conflict. Secondly, we're repeating their words back to them, so subconsciously it's another indicator that we're agreeing with them. Thirdly, we're asking questions, which is that pattern interrupt, and that again further shuts down any conflict. Fourth, we're stating our point, which is the ultimate thing we're trying to convey to the other person. But because it's said at a time when the other person has zero conflict with you and it's lowered any defences, any barriers, when you state your point, they're more likely to hear it in an open and understandable way because you've basically agreed with them multiple times. Now, I said repeat this over and over again, and I literally mean that. Whatever the person says, you're repeating back their words in a question form and then stating your point. They will then say something else. Repeat. Use their words back to them in a form of a question and state your point. Now, it may seem very crazy, may seem completely proper mental. This repetition just needs to keep going. Because you're completely agreeing with everything they say, asking them back a question in their own words and then stating your point, it may seem repetitive and crazy, but just keep going. After a while, the other person will just give up with no anger, no heated emotion, and basically agree to your point.
All right.
This magical technique of how to win any argument not only shuts down any conflict, but also does so in a very relaxed, calm, and unheated way. So really, everybody wins. But especially you, because you successfully communicated your point to the other person in a very calm and easy and nice way. Now go into the world, try this technique out, and let me know in the comments your experiences with it, because I guarantee when used properly, when you keep going on these 4 points, you'll 100% win every single argument. So if you haven't already, I'd love you to subscribe down here. That would be amazing. And I've got another cheeky video for you up here. And remember, do not take life too seriously, because there's enough ridiculous crap in the world that we can laugh at and enjoy. Be nice to each other, win those arguments. See you next time. Bye.